Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another Friday night chill stream for Calls. We're going to be looking at some round 3, round 4 weekend golf showdown lineups in your DFS slate for the Honda Classic this evening. It's also exciting time of the year. The spring training, grapefruit and cactus leagues are getting ready to start. So I will be starting to do some baseball prep as part of these Friday night streams as well. Probably will start that in a couple of weeks. Definitely won't have it planned for tonight. Not sure about next week, but definitely here soon. We're going to be beginning to look at some baseball content to prep for the baseball season, particularly for DFS and all that. But welcome to the stream this evening. Hopefully you've had a good week, and if not, you are ready to relax, listen to some music in the background, and get ready to analyze some weekend golf showdown for the Honda Classic. So let me bring up the set of tabs that I have for you this evening. And feel free to jump into chat if you have any questions. I would love to hear from you all. How are your lineups going? If you played in the Honda Classic or full week Honda Classic lineups, are your wagers still alive? All of that good stuff. But I'm going to reload Windfinder here, and you can see for the West or Palm Beach Gardens area at PGA National, there's very little wind in the forecast for this weekend. So it looks like it's going to be some fantastic conditions. Might be one of the lowest scoring Honda Classics we've ever had. -10 is the lead, and a lot of times -10 is the winning score. If it even gets to double digits, a lot of times it doesn't. So again, just excellent conditions so far, and in the forecast for PGA National this weekend. So no wind to speak of, no favor in terms of early or late players or anything to that effect. So let's go ahead and move on over to ESPN here. And the main reason I want to bring up ESPN is I like to see how the course has been playing, especially compared to its norm. So let me bring that up as well here, and we'll do a little side-by-side comparison. Probably actually going to be better if I go over here. For split screen viewing, and hopefully it is not too terribly scrunched for you. If it is, let me know. I will be more than happy to enlarge the screen or whatnot. I might do it over here for you all just in case. But anyway, what we are looking at typically at PGA National is a very difficult setup. However, there have been quite a few holes that have been easier than what they normally play. You see, hole 1 is about 5/100ths of a shot more or easier so far this year. Now, hole 2 is a little harder, but hole 4 generally plays 5/100ths over par. It's actually 5/100ths under par, so it's about a 1/10 of a shot easier so far this year. And so this constitutes a pretty good scoring opportunity, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And of course, every single one of your players is going to play holes 1, 2, 3, and 4 in succession. But what they're not every single golfer is going to be able to do is to play 18 1 and 2 in succession. And now 2 is a pretty difficult hole, yes. But 18 has been the second easiest hole on the course so far this week, playing to 4/10 of a shot under par. Typically, it plays to about a quarter of a shot. And then hole 3, the only other par 5, is playing pretty darn close to its average, 500ths easier. But this is clearly the most gettable portion of the golf course, and it starts with 18. So you go 18 and 1 decent birdie opportunities, and then 2 not easy by any means, but I would much prefer a player playing on the back 9 start than the front 9, just because they have that extra chance to get a birdie streak with hole 18 in there. So I don't think you can eliminate every single player that starts on the front 9. Having said that, I would much prefer to target players that are teeing off on 10 for round 3 and round 4 showdown. Let's see. Not really a whole lot else to cover in terms of course data here. I've grabbed some stats. It's important to note that there are 3 players that are still out on the course. So technically round 2 is still in progress. The cut line won't change. It's going to be +1. It is important to note that I have kept 2 players in consideration tonight. Pearson Cootie and Brett Druitt are still out on the golf course, but if they bogey, they are going to miss the cut. So it's important to note that I've kept them in there. They're both playing hole 18, so I do not expect them to bogey, but crazier things have happened. So that is a look at PGA National as it has been so far this week in terms of course and compared to its usual. So I'm going to close that. I'll close out both of these. And now you see I have Fantasy National up, and I've got this set on Bermuda as I was gaining some putting, or grabbing some putting statistics, but I'm actually going to go ahead and move on over to Microsoft Excel. And I guess the first thing I'll show you is how my lineups are going this week, and it's not great. Denny McCarthy, Matt Kuchar really hammered a lot of my lineups. I was really high on Aaron Baddeley. He missed the cut on the number, +2. Really frustrating, as he is a lot of the players, a lot of these black marks here, say in the 5th or 6th spot in the roster. Now, having said that, as of this moment, and I don't expect it to continue, but as of this moment, I am actually getting a positive return on investment, because this is the sole lineup that I put into the pitch and putt, the $20 entry pitch and putt this week. And Chris Kirk sitting in second. Lee Hodges had a very good day today. Davis Riley had a very good day today. And Eric Cole's in the top 5 at something ridiculous like 3% ownership. In fact, I'll double check that for you. Eric Cole is at 3.1% and sitting in the top 5. So promising team there. However, the fact that Johnny Vegas and Aaron Wise, there was somebody else that was very, very popular. Johnny Vegas, Aaron Wise, and who else made the cut on the number? There was one other. But anyway, since the cut moved to +1 instead of even, that allowed a whole lot of more chalk in for 6 of 6s. So that's a little unfortunate in my or on my end. I was really hoping it would have stayed even though I would have lost a couple of players here, I would have much rather it have been at even, because all of these players would have made the cut at even regardless. So we'll see how it turns out. I have a lot of Chris Kirk, so if he does end up winning the tournament, it might mitigate some of these losses. But boy, I mean, you can see some of these lineups, like this is a 2 of 6 to make it through. I've got numerous 3 of 6s. I mean, it was just not, I could not seem to put the correct lineup together. You know, for all the times that I have Sung Jae and Chris Kirk, you know, I'd either put him with Callum Tarrant or Aaron Baddeley, or maybe Chris Kirk and McCarthy, Chris Kirk and Kuchar. It is what it is. You know, the really bold one-offs that I had this week, Kevin Roy at 6,100, I threw him in one lineup. Akshay Bhatia I talked about on Wednesday evening. You know, he's in a lineup that only makes 3 of 6 through. I just couldn't seem to get all of my people aligned. So that's the way DFS is looking for me so far this week. I have already missed every single top 20 wager that I put in. Of course, Hank Lebiota had a terrible Thursday. He actually played well today, but he missed the cut. Brent Grant withdrawal and Matty Schmid, those were my top 20s. They're all out. And I put a win ticket on the huge number at Hank Lebiota. He misses the cut on the number. But I do have Bramlett, S.H. Kim, Dylan Fratelli, and Aaron Wise technically still alive. Dylan Fratelli had a very good day today. S.H. Kim made the cut on the number. Bramlett's been okay. So by no means am I out of it, but I don't have Chris Kirk. Definitely don't have Justin Suh. All of that. So we come now to the analytics and what the players have done so far this week at PGA National. And this is all thanks to Fantasy National. So I would be remiss if I did not say that Fantasy National is able, or I'm able to provide you these insights thanks to this tab here, this in-tournament stats tab. Simply amazing. Like I said, there are a lot of great tools out there for golf content and golf analytics. I just simply believe Fantasy National is the best, and they are working on a special project. So now's a great time to join Fantasy National. But all of this is possible with them, so all of the credit for the statistics goes to Fantasy National. But I've grabbed everything from the in-tournament stats tab here and brought it over to Microsoft Excel. The biggest thing that I like to do, especially for tournaments that are on the same course, shot link, all that stuff, I like to compare how players have done so far putting this week versus their baseline, if you will. Because putting comes and goes seemingly round by round. So if somebody is drastically underperforming or overperforming their putting, can lead to some insight or some advantage, if you will. So that's one of the first things that I like to do. So anything in heavy orange is someone who has, completely overperformed their putting, and in the green is someone who has drastically underperformed. So you can see Sung Jae is 98th in putting this week. He's typically in the top 15 in putting on fast and lightning Bermuda greens. Specifically talking for weekend golf, and I'm going to be focusing on weekend golf because I much prefer not to have to try and figure out positioning points, factoring that in. I think Sung Jae is core this weekend. I just think he's core. He's number one when it's difficult, so if they do toughen up the course a little bit, knowing that there's not supposed to be a lot of wind, he's also fine in calm winds. So there's a lot to like with Sung Jae this week. or for the weekend. So I'm very, very high on Sungjae now. The irons haven't quite been there, but he's still 16th in greens. He is the number one scrambling and sand save player this week. So, tied at least in sand saves. So that gives you a little bit of pause, I suppose, especially since scrambling isn't all that successful here, generally speaking. But the fact that he's hitting plenty of fairways, or plenty enough fairways, he's been great around the green, and he's underperformed his putting. There's nothing that will deter me from using Sungjae. Let me talk about Aaron Wise and some of these color coding off here. Aaron Wise is one of two players that has made an eagle on a par 4 this week. In fact, on Thursday, Aaron Wise holed out a couple of times. Once for par from the fairway, and then he holed out for an eagle on a par 4 in that round as well. I've got him shaded in the same kind of orange as overperforming in putting, because his scoring is artificially high, and he made the cut on the number. So he in all honesty, he should have missed the cut. He really should have missed the cut. And you can kind of see that there with the strokes gained approach. It's just been really, really bad this week. And then Pearson Cootie and Brett Drew, as I mentioned, they are still on the course, so there is a chance they don't make the cut. However, they are in as of now. But anyway, so coming back to the analysis, if you will. Like I said, I really like Sungjae. Apologies, let me make sure I don't miss anything important. I do have my phone here off to the side. A little, quite a bit more relaxed stream than Sunday, Monday, and Wednesday nights, which, as a reminder, my main content is on Sunday, Monday, and Wednesday evenings, YouTube Live and on Twitch. I research and give you data for the upcoming tournament of the week. So next week will be the Arnold Palmer. So if you're interested in seeing my main content, tune in on 9 p.m. Eastern on Sunday, Monday, and Wednesday evenings. Let's see, other places here like Minwoo Lee. There wasn't a lot of data on Minwoo. So while it looks like he is overperformed in terms of difficult and calm, really he only played in the majors last year. So his data is not going to look very good. Now, he did play very, very well at the Masters. You can see he played a handful of times in 2022, but a lot of these are some premier events. He didn't play well in them other than the Masters, and actually he just played well in the majors. But anything in the actual PGA Tour season, Pebble Beach, he really struggled. Genesis, he played very poorly. The API, he played very poorly as well. The Valero, then he makes the top 15s, the Masters. He misses the cut of the PGA, but he actually played pretty well. He actually gained strokes in total, so he played the majors extremely well, and then he didn't play worth a shit at any other PGA Tour event. So the fact that it looks like he's overperformed, I wouldn't necessarily say that. I don't have a strong feeling on Minwoo Lee. I don't have a strong feeling on Adrian Meronk just because they don't have a lot of rounds on the PGA Tour. So if you have strong feelings on them, by all means fire them up. I'm just going to leave them as is. It is what it is. I don't have a strong feeling on them. So I'm not going to recommend them, but if you do, then play them. Let's see. Elsewhere here, these three have slightly overperformed their putting, but nothing drastic. I'd be the most concerned about Billy just because the irons have been pretty bad. But I mean, he's hit enough greens, so not terribly. I think all three of these will be fine. I would be the most concerned with Billy. I actually think, even though Chris Kirk's sitting in second, I actually think I'd probably prefer Shane Lowry of these three, knowing that it's probably going to get pretty difficult. I imagine they're going to put the pins in some pretty hard spots. Shane Lowry's been really good off the tee. He's 10th in greens this week. He's been fine with the putter. I'm the most confident in Shane Lowry of these three to have the best score over the entirety of the weekend. So I would rank these three personally. I would go to Shane Lowry, Chris Kirk, and Billy Horschel. Let's see. Elsewhere here, Adams Vinson has drastically overperformed his putting. He actually hasn't gained a whole lot of distance. He's been pretty bad off the tee, but the irons have been very good. He's just putt a lot better than what he normally does on Fast and Lightning Bermuda, so I'm going to have to put him in orange. I don't think it's an outright full fade, but I'm definitely going to be fading Svensson in weekend-long contest. Look at Sepp Straka. He loves Bermuda greens. He's generally top 5 in Fast and Lightning Bermuda greens. He's right there with Sungjae. The irons have been there. He's been just fine off the tee. He's hit third in greens. If he continues to hit greens the way he has, and you see the sand save percentage, that's probably coinciding with the fact that he has just not made a putt seemingly. I think Sepp Straka's got to be core for the weekend. There's a lot to like here as well with Sepp Straka. So I think those two are going to comprise a lot of my top end of my teams. Apologies, I'm not necessarily recommending Bezuidenhout. I'm just reformatting in case I do. So let's see. Others here, like I said, Moronk, I just don't have a good feeling on. Oh no, I'm sorry, that's Bramlett. Bramlett has drastically overperformed his putting. He's generally outside the top 100 of the players that played this week. Not just the people that made the cut, but just the players that played this week. But he's been the 12th best. You see the off the tee has been very bad. He hasn't hit many fairways at all. The irons have been okay. Like Joseph Bramlett, even though I have a win ticket on Joseph Bramlett, I gotta say, analytics don't look good for him. They just don't. It looks like he's doing it all in putting and around the green, and that is not his forte. He is a great driver of the golf ball, so can't say I recommend Joseph Bramlett. Let's see, other people here. We've got Jaeger and S.H. Kim. Now, S.H. Kim, I'm a little bit more cautious about this number being so high, or low if you will, because he doesn't have that many rounds in terms of Fast and Lightning Bermuda. All it is from the fall and maybe the Sony. I can't remember if the Sony was classified as fast this year. Gonna have to check, but you can see, coming into the week, he was 10th in terms of Fast and Lightning speed Bermuda greens. Yeah, so they were fast. So how many strokes did S.H. Kim gain that week? He gained 1.8, so it was a good tournament, but nothing drastic. Like I said, I'm a little bit more cautious on that, but he has been very good when it's calm. In the few rounds that have been difficult, he's played those well. But the irons have not been very good this week. Not been very good. He's doing it all in scrambling. So I'm again, even though I have a win ticket on him, it does not feel great. Won't say it's a full fade, just in case that the putting on Bermuda, Fast and Lightning Bermuda is real, even though he has few rounds. Stefan Jaeger, generally a very good putter. He's been number 2 off the tee this week, which is interesting to see. But like SH Kim, his irons have been atrocious. He's hit greens, but it has not translated well in terms of strokes gained approach. He's generally pretty good when it's calm. I don't know. I guess this is a lukewarm kind of maybe, I suppose, for Stefan Jaeger. Let's see. Other players that might be like Justin Suh here. You can see he's been the number 2 putter this week. He's generally outside the top 100. He's overperforming by 99 spots. So, at least in weekend showdown, this is somewhere in between red and orange. I'm gonna go orange. He has been very, very good ball striking it. He doesn't have the distance, but he's hit plenty of fairways and he's hit plenty of greens. He's also been 100% in sand saves. I am quite worried about the putting. In fact, I'm going to bring this tab up over here to the side. I imagine he probably gained a lot on the greens just today. Would be my guess. So round 2, putting. Yeah, he was second. He gained 3.7 strokes on the greens today alone. So, boy, I cannot recommend Justin Suh. Seeing that. Let's see. Others here. Benny On, pretty good when it's calm, but he's been pretty bad when it's been difficult. The irons have been there. Okay. Robbie Shelton was somebody that I was targeting very, very highly. He had a very good round today after a implosion yesterday, so he did make the cut. He's underperformed his putting a little bit. Could be interesting, I suppose. Brandon Wu generally has played these kind of coastal courses pretty well. And you see he's drastically underperformed his putting. He's been probably one of the worst this week in putting, actually. He's certainly the worst putter that's made the cut. Let me see here off to the side. Is he the worst putter this week? No, he's in the bottom 10, that's for sure. I'm looking at round 2 specific. Let's just do all. Brandon Wu has been in the bottom 10. He's lost 3.8 across both days in putting. But if we take a look at Brandon Wu's profile here, and I will have to search him. He has played his best on these coastal-ish tracks. Now, he's been at his best when it's calm. You can see he has really struggled when it's been difficult. But AT&T, he runner-ups this year, a short coastal track. He did miss at the Sony, which would have been a very good comp. Mayakoba is a decent comp. Again, coastal. Now those are past Palin greens, but shorter, coastal. He played pretty well. The Bermuda, he at least made the cut. But what I am going to highlight for you is the fact that, you know, second in Mexico last year, same style of tournament. Puerto Rico, coastal type course. So that's where he's done his best, or that's when he's been at his best. So I'm thinking that I would probably gravitate to a little bit of Brandon Wu for weekend. You see Adam Schenk. He is not a very good putter, and yet he has been top 5 this week. A drastic overperformance. He's not been good off the tee. He's not been good around the green this week. He's hit plenty of greens, I suppose, but if he continues to miss fairways like he has, he's going to get into trouble, and the putter won't save him every time. So I don't want really any part of Adam Schenk. It's weird to see the number 1 putter in Ben Taylor and me not just straight put him in red, but he's very, very good on fast and lightning Bermuda greens so far early in his career, or at least on the PGA Tour. He's also played pretty well when it's been difficult. He's got a lot of the Adam Schenk issues. He has not hit a lot of fairways, but he has scrambled, probably due to the putter, and I believe much more in this putter than I do Adam Schenk's. If we take a look at Ben Taylor, you see he is number 8 in Bermuda, or fast and lightning Bermuda. He's also not played well when it's supposed to be windy, but again, we took a look at Wind Finder. It's supposed to be calm. And he's been very good when it's been difficult. So Ben Taylor is actually somebody that even though he's been the number 1 putter this week, probably going to gravitate towards using some Ben Taylor as well. I don't think I would make him quite core, but I mean, we looked at Taylor. We'll contrast that with Adam Schenk, and while he has gained on Bermuda, let's see, if we look at specifically fast and lightning Bermuda, like the Sony, he was negative. RSM, were they fast? Oh, they were lightning this year. So there you go. He did gain a little bit at the RSM. The American Express is generally average, yeah. So not quite what we're looking for. But you see, still see Bermuda, he struggled. Phoenix is fast. The 2 rounds of fast, 2 rounds of average this year. But he went apeshit on the green, so yeah, I don't know. I'm much more confident in Brandon Wu's putter on fast and lightning Bermuda than I am Adam Schenk's. Bhatia has been the number 1 iron player, and I was pretty darn high on Bhatia. He generally doesn't play well when it's difficult. He's hit plenty of fairways. I don't know. This is the lightest shade of light avoid. But if you want to believe that the irons are going to stay where they are, I can understand it. Let's see, other players here who might be underperforming. Take a look at Mark Hubbard. Mark Hubbard, not generally known for distance anyway. He has been severely underperforming his putting, but the irons have been there. He's been fine off the tee. He's also pretty darn good when it's calm. He hasn't been bad at hitting greens. I mean, he's been, I would say, slightly above average, but nothing terrible. Again, he doesn't really rely on distance, so I kind of like Mark Hubbard. for a lot of consideration here. Somebody like Dylan Fratelli. Now the irons, for as much as he's been 12th in strokes gained approach, you know, he's not hit as many greens. He's got the distance this week, but he has not been hitting many fairways. He's just kind of solid on the calm and when it's difficult. So, okay. I mean, it's certainly not the best feeling in the world, but I can understand it, I guess. Somebody that I'm completely out on is Tyler Duncan. You see, he does play well when it's calm. I'll give you that. He's been very good off the tee, but he's been top 10 in putting, and he's generally hovering around 90th of the people that are in the field. And he hadn't hit many greens. You can see that with the iron. So, not terribly impressed with Tyler Duncan. That's going to be a fade for me. Davis Riley, #1 player in calm wins. He's also been pretty good when it's difficult. Look here, he's been solid all the way around except for his putting. He's underperformed it by 89 spots. So he's generally a top 15 putter on Fast and Lightning Bermuda. Davis Riley is absolutely part of my core for weekend golf. I like what I see analytically from Davis Riley. I mean, he's hitting plenty of greens. He's got the distance. He's hit fairways. I like Davis Riley a lot. And there is every possibility that we don't have to go into the 6Ks. I'm going to put Davis Riley at the bottom. We might have to put him here, and we might come down into the 6Ks, especially if we want to try to squeeze in like a Sungjae Shane Lowry. We'll see. But I'm just kind of going through here, see if anybody in particular stands out. Garrick Higo stands out in the negative way. Want no part of Garrick Higo. You can see the off the tee has been terrible. The approach has been terrible. He's been very good around the green and very good putting, and he's generally not a very good putter on Fast and Lightning Bermuda. So I want no part of Garrick Higo. Kevin Tway, while he has underperformed his putting, the irons haven't been there. He's generally not good when it's calm or difficult. He hadn't hit many greens either. I am probably staying away from Kevin Tway. You see Andrew Novak here. He's done all in putting. You can see the scrambling, the sand saves. It's all been in putting. He does not have any statistic that's, above average or, above the field average, except for putting, which he has been going crazy this week with the putter. So I want no part of Andrew Novak. Let's see. David Lingmerth. Look there. He is usually a top 25 performer on Fast and Lightning Bermuda. And he's been 13th in irons. The greens have been there. He's hit enough fairways. He's never going to have a lot of distance. I mean, it's David Lingmerth. You got to be very, very careful when you're thinking about using David Lingmerth. I'll put him in a little bit of a shade of green. Like, he's generally not good, period. But especially not good when it's calm. The irons have been there this week, and he's underperformed his putting. So there are reasons to believe in David Lingmerth for weekend-long showdown. Ben Martin, drastically overperforming his putting. But the irons have been there, so again, this is more of a shade to avoid, but you have your reasons to use Ben Martin if you're so inclined. I don't want any part of Jason Duffner. He's overperformed his putting drastically. We take a look at Percy. Percy's been pretty solid, but he is overperforming his putting. Now, he is generally pretty good when it's difficult. That's why I targeted him at, say, the Farmers. Targeted him another time. It generally doesn't work out. So there is reason to be optimistic. But he has overperformed his putting quite a bit. I don't want any part of Jimmy Walker. I mean, the irons have been there, but he has not found fairways. You see, he's been scrambling his tail off. I don't want any part of Jimmy Walker. I'm going to put Percy in probably orange. Might be a little harsh, but you see Tano Goya had a very, very good round today. He's not a very good putter. So I will easily fade Tano Goya. All of these players down here, they have never shown any prowess on Bermuda, especially these three. We saw Carson Young struggle a little bit already. Is there anybody that I would even think about gravitating towards down here? Doesn't really look like it, because you have your players that have been ball striking it fine, but they're generally pretty bad putters, and they've not been good when it's calm or difficult. Chapel we don't have stats for, which is interesting, but we just don't on Fantasy National. Gerard might be interesting only because I don't have any stats to compare his Bermuda performance with. So, I mean, he's just a literal unknown. So when you don't have stats, there's just not much I can do. He played in a couple of Korn Ferry Tour events, but that's it. And we don't get specific data on that. So my gut tells me to not use Gerard. But if you know something, then fire him up. I'm going to avoid him. Someone like Eric Barnes here. He is generally a very good putter. Plays very well when it's difficult, but the irons haven't been there. He's not been the best around the green. Lingworth might be the most comfortable I would be coming down to at 6,900. So if that's the case, let's see. Dylan Wu, Tyson Alexander, both been overperforming somewhat. Like each has good and bad. Like you see Dylan Wu here. Dylan Wu generally okay when it's calm, but his ball striking's been pretty good this week. He's had middling amount of distance, modicum of distance. Fairway's been okay, I suppose. Now Tyson Alexander is very good when it's difficult, but his ball striking hasn't been there. So not sure what to make of either of those two. Harry Hall, Ryan Armour. Kind of the same situation here. Ryan Armour analytically would show that should be better, but his irons have just been porous so far. Whereas Harry Hall's been just kind of middle of the road on everything. And he's generally one of the top 5 putters on Fast and Lightning Bermuda, but again, it's only with stats from the fall forward, so how much do you really want to put into that? I don't think a whole lot. I don't think. So let's see, if we go Mark Hubbard, so that leaves us with 7,800 per player. If we go Ben Taylor, what does that leave us with? 82. All right, Bezadenhout. What do we have here? Bezadenhout is he's been very good off the tee just because he's been hitting plenty of fairways. So he's not taking himself out of the hole, at least. He's hitting a fair amount of greens. But he's generally a short game player, and he's been very bad at that so far. Yes, he's underperforming his putting a little bit, but, I mean, 17 spots would put that at up to 66th. It's not exactly stellar. Otherwise, it's looking like Stefan Jaeger. Which I'm not crazy about because the irons haven't been there. But yet he's hitting plenty of greens. So, I don't know. Let's see. Will Gordon overperforming the putting a little bit. He's just been hitting his irons very well. So I don't think I can recommend Will Gordon. Benny On, Robbie Shelton. Ben On, maybe. He generally doesn't play well when it's difficult, but I don't know. I just don't feel great about it. I don't feel great about Jaeger, and that's who fits at this price point. So we're either needing to change up something here and find a little bit more money. Like look at JT Poston. I would want no part of JT Poston. Yes, he's underperformed his putting, but again, 20 spots is going to put that, or 19 spots is going to put that up to, what, 68th? And he's done nothing else other than the around the green stuff. Not ball striking at all this week. Yes, I understand he's the number one player in column wins, but just no thanks on JT Poston. Ben Griffin has really struggled this week with his irons. All right, so you look at Adrian Meronk. We don't have any kind of putting. Sorry, I can't get a scratch out of the throat, of the back of my throat. But everything has been very, very solid. And again, Meronk just doesn't have a whole lot of rounds on the PGA Tour, so it's very hard for me to analyze. I mean, he's never putt on Bermuda. It's always been on POA. He's not played well but when it's been difficult, but look at the tournaments he's played. U.S. Open, the Scottish, which was very, very difficult last year. The Open Championship, which he made the cut. Bermuda, I don't think was terribly difficult, but the Genesis was, you know, it wasn't easy. So, what was the Bermuda this past? Yeah, it was easy. He didn't play very well. So, Meronk seems like he might be interesting. I don't know if I want to call him core, but that's pretty darn interesting for Meronk. So if we can drop 400, which we're either going to drop Ben Taylor or Mark Hubbard. Davis Riley's going to go here. And, you know, I hate to do it, but it's to find that money, it's David Lingmerth. I don't feel great about it, but at least the irons are there, and he's underperformed his putting. So who do we feel better about between Ben Taylor and Mark Hubbard? Well, Mark Hubbard plays better when it's calm. Ben Taylor plays better when it's difficult. Ben Taylor has been fantastic other than off the tee. And again, I'm not terribly worried about him slightly overperforming the putting just because he's naturally a very good putter on Bermuda anyway. I am a little worried about his fairways. Whereas if we look at Hubbard, he's been very good pretty much everywhere else other than around the green. He's hit plenty of fairways. He just hasn't had a lot of distance. Ooh, that's tough. I think I would much rather take the gamble on Ben Taylor. So I think that is the lineup that I would gravitate towards to the most. And now we can work off of that. So if we're going to try to squeeze in a whole lot here, you know, let's try to do a stars and scrubs. I think Sungjae is going to have to be core. Just he's underperformed his putting by miles, and he's been pretty good at everything else. I mentioned I am the most comfortable with Lowry among these three, but all three of these guys seem okay. And if you have a strong feeling about Minwoo Lee, use Minwoo Lee. I just don't. I just don't have a strong feeling. So I'm going to go Sungjae, Shane Lowry. I'm going to have to drop all the way down to 63 and use the unknown quantity in Ryan Gerard. Everything tells me to not go there, but if I'm trying to squeeze in both of these two, there is literally nobody else I would feel comfortable using. Not really. Holmes's irons have been okay, if you want to go there. But otherwise, like, there's just not. There's a reason they're priced this low, I suppose. So with that, we'll go Gerard. I'm going to try to use Davis Riley again. That gives us 7,800. Yeah, we've got this. I'll go probably something with like maybe a Brandon Wu. Leaves us 7,900. That's exactly Stefan Jaeger. So even though I said stars and scrubs, it's probably going to feel more like a 2-star 4 scrub. But Sungjae, Shane Lowry, the unknown commodity, and Ryan Gerard, who's playing really well right now. Davis Riley, who everything seems like should line up for him to play very well over the weekend. Let's see. If we want to go something off of that stars and scrubs, maybe not use Sungjae. I'll use Minwoo Lee in one lineup just in case somebody out there is familiar or wanting to use him. Let's see. I mean, there's nothing wrong with Chris Kirk. Again, I would use Sungjae, but we've used Sungjae in both of these lineups, so I'll use Chris Kirk. I'm just the lowest on Billy Horschel because of the irons. They haven't been there, but I don't think it's a bad play if you want to go with Billy Horschel. You saw him struggle today, so we'll go Chris Kirk, Minwoo Lee. Again, we're in that 7,500. I was hoping I could squeeze in an 8K, but it doesn't really look like I'll be able to. Could I get away with an Adrian Maroc, maybe? Can I? Ooh, that's tough. You got 7,100 basically per. Let's try Mark Hubbard, Dylan Fratelli, 69 David Leakmarth. Okay. So there's a different kind of look at a stars and scrubs-ish look, where you're not dropping down all the way to Gerard. You're going 6,900 and David Leakmarth. If we want to try to maybe look at a balanced build, I don't really feel all that great with Taylor Pendrith. Like, yes, the off the tee's been great. The irons have been okay, I suppose. But he's overperforming here. Johnny Vegas, you see, the irons haven't been there at all. He really, had to fight to make the cut. If we're doing a balanced build, we can't start with Straka, can we? Like, do we just go a full 8K lineup here? Like Straka, Moronk. Again, I don't feel great about Ben Griffin. Don't have a strong feeling about Bezadenhout. Normally I kind of like these balanced builds in a weekend lineup, but I don't see it this weekend. I just don't. I don't like Vegas. The irons haven't been there. He is number 2 in distance, but I mean, he's not finding fairways. Has been okay, I suppose, at the greens. Like Pendrith, he's hitting plenty of greens, but overperforming his putter. No thanks on Svensson. No thanks on Aaron Wise. No thanks on Bramlett. Yeah, there's not a whole lot here in the 8s and 7s that I like. Like, take a look at Matt Wallace here. Like, this doesn't inspire much confidence. Yes, his irons have been good, but he's overperforming his putting by quite a margin. It is interesting to see him be 20th in distance, 44th in fairways, yet he's 129th and off the tee. That doesn't make a lot of sense. Something doesn't seem to be adding up there. Let me investigate Matt Wallace. He's been minus 2.7 off the tee, but 4.4 in approach. Very peculiar to see. Huh. Very peculiar. What did he do each round, I suppose? So I want that for round 1. He was terrible off the tee the first day and very good everywhere else. And then in round 2, he was not very good around the green, still bad off the tee. Wallace might be interesting, I suppose. I mean, this doesn't inspire a whole lot of confidence, but considering what we have to work with, like, I don't know, maybe. Zach Johnson's irons have been actually very good this week. I think that has to come back down to earth a little bit. Apologies. Lee Hodges, no thank you. Overperforming his putting, and he's not been ball striking it well either. So no thanks. Yeah, this is rough. I wonder if we can do a balanced build looking at like Straka, Maronk, maybe a bin on Brandon Wu, Matt Wallace type thing here. 98. Billy Horschel, Minwoo Lee. Okay. This might be your more balanced-ish build. Less in the 8Ks, and you're doing more of the upper 7s. The upper 7s within elite. You know, if you find 200 more, you can go to Shane Lowry. Like, of course, I'm trying to use different people here, but, you know, you can easily make Brandon Wu, Ben Taylor. In fact, I'm probably just going to do that. Let's go Lowry. This becomes Matt Wallace. This is Ben Taylor. Yeah, I don't mind that lineup all that much. Okay. There's a look at I have to say a balanced-ish build because we're not dropping any lower than 7,400, but it's not you know, it's not filled with the 8Ks like I normally do for a balanced build. But yeah, that I mean, really, this is kind of the core of the team. Really, majority of your lineups are probably going to consist of maybe 10 players. Brandon Wu, Ben Taylor, Davis Riley. I don't hate Lingmerth. But not a whole lot that I like here. Again, if you feel strongly about Minwoo Lee, then use Minwoo Lee. I don't have much. I don't have statistics to go on for him. Let's see. We've used Kirk. We've used Lowry. I mean, again, you can just kind of throw in Horschel if you're a big believer in Horschel, but I really do think the majority of your lineups are going to start Sungjae and Sepp. And then you got to decide, can you afford to take Adrian Maronk or not? If not, like make Davis Riley last. Go like Davis Riley, Brandon Wu been on. Let's do. I think I've used them each once. Probably a little bit more confident in Brandon Wu. This would be Ben Taylor. 79's Jaeger, who I'm not overly confident in. Again, I've got SH Kim here in orange. That might be a little harsh. He might be a slighter than that. Again, he just doesn't have many rounds that I can feel confident that that's a worthwhile number to rely on. The irons have been really bad this week. That's an issue. Granted, he's been pretty bad with the irons in general. So, okay. Maybe you can go SH Kim, Brandon Wu, Ben Taylor, Davis Riley. Might be another way to go about that. I might actually like that a little bit more than going to David Lingmerth. Lingmerth's just burned me enough times. You know, to be honest with you, Eric Cole's played really darn well. He's middling in both of those. He's number 2 in irons. I was a little bit thrown off with the fact that he was overperforming his putting, but if you look at it, he's actually been fairly solid all the way across the board. And it's not like he's drastically overperforming. It is only 20 spots. He has been pretty weak off the tee, but you know the same with that Matt Wallace. Like I would probably take a look at Eric Cole. Like Eric Cole's probably worth a good look too. So we could go something like Shane Lowry, Adrian Moronk. Shoot, we could. I wonder if we could do, say because we did Chris Kirk and Minwoo Lee. If you want to start with your team with Minwoo Lee, you can go Minwoo Lee. Again, I'm going to recommend Sepp Straka, but we could go Minwoo Lee, Adrian Moronk. We could really balance this out. Sepp Straka, Adrian Moronk, Ben On, Brandon Wu, Eric Cole. Like, okay. There's a more traditional balanced build, if you will. I don't mind that one. I don't think. Last idea here. I'm gonna use that Ryan Gerard. I don't want to use Gerard and Lingmerth, but if I'm using Ryan Gerard, I'm definitely going Davis Riley, and I'm gonna use Sungjae. Now the question is. If you don't use Sungjae, like you could probably do, I mean, yeah, like this is 9,000 per player. You could do your Straka, Moronk, Minwoo. Yeah, okay. But I can still do like a Sungjae, an 85 per. Let's do Straka. Well, Adrian Moronk. 8,000. Shoo. That's Jaeger, SH Kim again, Ben On. Something like that. Is that the same team? That's almost the same team, yeah. So that's a look at what I have for you all for weekend lineups for the Honda Classic. A reminder that next week it is a double tournament week. The main tournament being the Arnold Palmer Invitational at Bay Hill, but the Puerto Rico Open is also going on. So calls will be live every night next week. Sunday, initial research for the Arnold Palmer. Monday will be the data dive for the Arnold Palmer. Tuesday night will be the full show, meaning research, data, and DFS for the Puerto Rico Open, and then back to regular stream schedule Wednesday night for the DFS for the Arnold Palmer. The full show or full week of shows. Boy, I can't talk. A full week of shows next week since it's a double tournament week. Thanks to everybody. Hey, Darnell's Love Showdown tomorrow. Wish I could play. Hey, yeah. So I do Showdown, but these lineups here that I have, I am much better and much more comfortable doing weekend because I don't want to try and determine specific placement points. And that's where and placement points are so very valuable in showdowns. I just want to be able to look at the stats and tell you, okay, this person has played better than what the stats are saying. This person has played worse, etc., etc. Live and Connect hard to play on certain sites. Yeah, no, I get it. But if you are jotting these down and you are able to play, just be aware that these are for weekend golf, not round 3 specific. If you are able to use or play round 3 specific, I am going to tell you that you would want to focus on anybody that's... I would prefer players that are starting on the back nine, because you get the added hole, essentially, of the 18th for your birdie streak. So the easiest part of the course, is basically 1 through 4. 2 is not easy. Don't get me wrong. 2 plays over par, but this is easy. This is the easiest part of the course, and not every single golfer will get to play 18, 1, 2, 3, and 4 in succession. So you're just trying to maximize your chances at your 3 birdies in a row streak for a showdown. So because of that, I would prefer players that are teeing off on the back nine. There's also no wind to speak of, so you don't have any kind of a wind factor with early or late or anything like that. There's just no wind. It's consistent throughout the day, so nothing to go with there. So that is my generalized tips for round 3 and round 4 showdown for the Honda. Start with players on the back nine. Early or late doesn't look like it's going to matter. 18 has been the second easiest so far this week, and it's generally the second easiest. Hole 3 is the easiest, and I'll bring up. The only reason I know that, I'll go to ESPN here and show you the course stats. So hole 3 is played about 0.45, whereas 18 is played not quite 4/10, but close enough to it. So second easiest and then the easiest. So you get, again, the whole thing is right after the bear trap, you go 18, the second easiest hole. Hole 1, I think, has been the third easiest hole this week. Now 2's tough, no doubt about it. So that you're asking a lot to get a three birdie streak there. But if somebody does find a birdie on 2, they've got really good chance at going like 18, 1, and 2, or 1, 2, and 3. Again, I'm just wanting to prioritize players that are starting off on the back nine, because you're getting the extra hole essentially for your birdie streak. That's really all it is. Yeah. Yep. No doubles. Again, I'm just going purely by the stroke average. Stroke average, hole 3's been the easiest, but 18's also easy. So yeah, there's a look at the lineups and the players that I would recommend for specifically weekend golf, and then you'll have to check tee times for round 3 showdown, because round 2 is still technically in progress. You've got 3 players that are still on the course, so be aware that Pearson Cootie and Brett Druitt are on the course. If they par, they make the cut. If they bogey, they're out. But the cut line won't move. Cut line won't move. It'll be +1. Who am I liking for tomorrow? Again, without knowing tee times, because I would want players that are on the back nine. Anybody that is shaded in a very heavy green and bolded is who I am looking at in terms of weekend. They are underperforming their stats so far in the week. Like Sung Jae, his irons haven't been good, but he's a top 10 or top 15 putter on Fast and Lightning Bermuda. He's been 100th this week. So everything, regressing to the mean, Sung Jae's going to make some putts. Same with Sepp Straka. Sepp Straka is the 4th best Fast and Lightning speed putter in this field. He's been 97th, regressing to the mean. He's going to make some putts, meaning his scoring is going to rise. Those two and Davis Riley are my three cores in weekend golf. Those three have significantly underperformed their statistics. The ball striking's been there, etc., etc. Anybody in green is worth a look. Like Adrian Moronk, he's been very solid everywhere else. I just don't have anything to compare the putting to. So, But, I mean, the fact that he's been a very good ball striker so far this week and he's been good around the green, that's all I have to go on. And that's why I won't say that I dislike Minwoo Lee, but I can't say that I like him either, because the rounds that he has are all from very difficult tournaments last year. That's why his numbers suck, because he was playing the majors and the Arnold Palmer and all that stuff. But he's been the number one player off the tee so far this week, but he hasn't done shit around the green. So, bet against Sungjae for weekend. Well, considering, I mean, Moronk is doing. You're winning that bet from last Monday. S.H. Kim did make the cut, but he made it on the number. I think last I saw Moronk's like -4. Eric Cole is interesting. I do like Eric Cole as well. Eric Cole's played very, very well. And that was somebody I was really high on for DFS. I used him a couple of times. I was pretty high on Eric Cole. And you see, I've got him in the big pitch and putt. So this lineup here is going to make or break my DFS, because I mean, you can see just how many 3 of 6s and all that I have. This is the one lineup that I put into the $20 pitch and putt. It's a 5 of 6 with Chris Kirk, with Eric Cole. Again, I think Sungjae is going to play better, and then Davis Riley actually played pretty well today too. So I'm cautiously optimistic on this, on the pitch and putt. I'll take Minwoo, Moronk, or Cole against Sungjae. See, the thing is, like, I think, okay, that's fine. I'll take Sungjae for just weekend. For the 2 rounds combined, I'll take Sungjae over one of those 3. But I think honestly, I think Sepp Straka is probably going to be the best weekend golf performer. I don't think he wins the tournament. But yeah. But thanks for catching the show just at the end. Pretty quiet night this evening. Last Friday it was rocking. We had 5 or 6 people just coming back with question after question. It was a lot of fun. A little bit more quiet this Friday evening. So, but thanks for jumping in chat and catching a little bit of the show. I always appreciate it. Reminder, there are 2 tournaments next week, Darnell. So I've got a full slate of shows for the week. Sunday, Monday, Wednesday will be the Arnold Palmer. Tuesday will be the full Puerto Rico Open. Research Data Dive and DFS all on Tuesday night for the Puerto Rico Open. So a full week next week. And then, not only that, baseball's right around the corner. So eventually, I'm too tired tonight. I'm not sure what I have going on next week. I'll probably be exhausted next week from doing 2 tournament week. But soon we'll be looking into some baseball stuff. Because the spring training starts, I think, tomorrow. So exciting stuff. I have a 5 of 6 on Super Draft. Bhatia. I liked Bhatia quite a bit. Is that Padraig Harrington? And then Minwoo. So you don't have anybody extremely high up there except for Cole. So you're going to need a big weekend from, say, Bhatia, who's probably pretty darn unique. Yeah, Padraig. I like it. I like it. But yeah, good luck with that 5 of 6 as well. We've got chances. They're all high multipliers. Yeah, we've got chances, and I've got 4 win bets that are still technically alive. SH Kim has made the cut on the number, so pretty much throw him out. Aaron Wise made the cut on the number. You can pretty much throw him out. I felt really, really good after yesterday's round because I have a win ticket on Joseph Bramlett. He kind of struggled today, but by no means is he out of it. I have a win ticket on Joseph Bramlett, and Dylan Fratelli played pretty well today. So if he has another couple of days like he played, I've got live win tickets as well. So currently in first. Well, good luck. If you do end up doing well, let me know. That way I can shout you out Sunday night in the initial research show. But that's going to do it for the Friday Night Chill stream tonight. Thanks, Darnell, for jumping in chat. Thanks to everyone who tuned in and watched, listened, supported the channel. Always appreciate it. For all of your round 3, round 4, and weekend golf contests that you enter for the Honda Classic this weekend, and every weekend, may all your bets be profitable. Until next time.